we're talking about multi-step variable equations, multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So yesterday we learned how to solve some basic, they're simplified expressions where you had the variables on both sides of the equal sign. So it was a simple one. It was just a matter of 3, sometimes only 2 steps to solve it, where you had to move the smallest variable to one side, then get rid of the constant, and then get rid of the coefficient. So that was a little bit simpler. So we'll look at an example of one more time. So if we have negative 3 plus 5x is equal to 4x minus 10, that is a simple variable on both sides equation. First step that we had to do was to identify which one of those variables is the smallest variable. So which one's the smallest?
4.
The 4, right? So we're going to put a box around that 4x, and because it is a positive 4x, what inverse operation are we going to perform? Subtraction. Good. So we're going to subtract the 4x in order to be able to cancel it out. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we're going to subtract the 4x as well from here. And what will a positive 5x minus 4x give us? 1x. Do I have to write the 1? No. But do I have to write the plus sign? Yeah, because it's a positive, isn't it? So I have to write that positive sign or the plus sign. And then I just bring down the rest of my information. I bring down that negative 3 to go in front of it. And then on the right side of the equal sign, what do I bring down? A negative 10, right? That minus 10 now acts like a negative 10. Okay, what's the next step? Cameron? Add 3, right? We need to get rid of the constant, so here's the constant. So instead of subtracting 3, we have to add 3 to cancel it out. And then on the other side, we're going to add 3. And what's negative 10 plus 3? Negative 7. Okay, and x doesn't have a coefficient, so we now have it to where it's solved. X is equal to negative 7. We're done. X is isolated. We've got our answer. Okay, so those are the simple variables on both sides equations. Today, we're going to work with some more complex, meaning that it's not going to be in a constant and coefficient variable term. There might be multiple constants and multiple variables on each side where we have to simplify it, or maybe there might be distributive property where we have to simplify before we can start moving things. So we call that process the do before you undo. Okay, so what you do is you look at each side and you say, okay, what can I actually do? What can I actually add or subtract or distribute to simplify the expression down before I start undoing things, before I start moving things and canceling stuff out? Okay, so let's take a look at one of those examples. If I give you something like 4x minus 5 plus 4 equals 6x plus 8 minus 8x plus 15. That looks like a long problem, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, there's multiple components that are going on to it. What you need to do is you need to focus on one side at a time. What do I mean by side?
One side of the equal.
One side of the equal sign, right? So here's our equal sign. So I split it up and I focus on it as here's my left side and here's my right side. Yes, Ariana? Yes, I can. Come on up. You don't have to wait. So we're going to focus on the left side versus the right side. So on the left side, I've got that 4x minus 5 plus 4 that needs to be simplified. So who can raise their hand and tell me, out of this expression, what can I simplify? So look at each term. Do I have any other term that can be simplified with the 4x? No, there's no like terms to it, right? What about to that minus 5? Is there a like term that can go with this?
Yes.
Yeah, right, that plus 4. The minus 5 is now going to act like what? A negative, right? That minus 5 is now going to act like it's a negative, and that plus 4 acts like it's a positive. So I'm working on the expression negative 5 plus 4. What is that going to give me? Negative 1. So I'm going to write negative 1. Now, I don't have anything that can go with that 4x, do I? So that 4x is just going to come straight down by itself, 4x. So now I've just simplified that expression. Instead of 4x minus 5 plus 4, I've got 4x minus 1. Right? The negative 1 now pretends it's going to be a minus 1. So we've got 4x minus 1 for the left side. We've just simplified it. Now we're going to focus on the right side. So on the right side, we've got the expression 6x plus 8 minus 8x plus 15. So let's start with the first term, because we don't have any distribution, do we? There's no distributive property. That's always the first thing you want to check for. Is there any distributive property? Which there's not. So now the second thing is, can I combine any like terms? So start with our first term. Is there any like term that can be combined with 6x?
Yes.
What? Okay, so we have 6x and a negative 8x. So when we write it, we're going to write it as 6x minus 8x. And what will that give us? Jonathan?
Oh, what?
What'd you say?
Wait,
Yeah?
right? Negative 2x.
Very good. So negative 2x. Okay, do I have any other like terms I can combine?
8 and positive.
Very good. Positive 8 and positive 15. So we have a positive 8 plus a positive 15, which is going to give us what? 23. What do I need to put in front of it? An addition sign, because it's positive, right? We just said it was a positive 23, so we have to put a plus sign in front of it. So now we've got the expression negative 2x plus 23. That's as simplified as it can get. So now we've simplified our expressions on both sides. So we've created our equation. 4x minus 1 equals negative 2x plus 23. And we can solve it just like we did yesterday. What am I going to put a box around first? Negative 2x, because that's the smaller variable. Negative 2 is smaller than 4. So we're going to put a box around that negative 2x. What will be the inverse to it? Plus 2x, good. So whatever we do to one side, we need to make sure we do it to the other. And those will get canceled out. What will 4x plus 2x give us? Good job. 6x. Bring down everything else. So it's 6x minus 1 equals positive 23. All right. From there, what do we do now? Add the 1. So we add 1 to both sides. What's 23 plus 1? 24. So we now have 6x equals 24. Last step, divide by 6. There you go. So it's complex, but when you do it piece by piece, it's not so hard. It's actually a very simple process. You just have to take it one side at a time. Simplify the left, simplify the right, and then solve. Okay, let's take a look at another example. And for your assignment tonight, you're only going to have 5 problems that you'll work on. Only 5. Because it does take a little bit longer than last night's assignment. Okay, so let's take a look at problem number 3. I have negative 3x plus 8 plus 7x plus 5 is equal to negative 7 minus 3x minus 8. Okay, so we split it up side by side. Focus on our left side first. So the left side is negative 3x plus 8 plus the 7x plus the 5. Do I have any distributive property? No. Do I have any like terms that can be combined? Okay, 8 and 5. What else? Negative 3x and the 7x. Good. So we have a negative 3x plus the 7x. So what's negative 3x plus 7x going to give us? 4x. Good. Okay. Then we've got a positive 8 and a positive 5. So what's 8 plus 5? 13. Since it's positive, we have to put a plus sign, so plus 13. Okay, so the left side's been simplified. Let's move on over to the right side. So on the right side, we've got negative 7 minus 3x minus 8. What can we do? Good. We've got negative 7 minus 8. What's negative 7 minus 8? Negative 15. Good job. Now we don't have anything that's a like term to this minus 3x, so that just gets brought down. So we bring down that minus 3x as it is. Okay, now that's as simplified as it's going to get. We've got 2 simplified expressions that we can now set to equal each other and solve. So 14x or 4x plus 13 is equal to negative 15 minus 3x. What do we want to identify first? The smallest variable, which is negative 3x. So I'm going to put a box around that negative 3x. What's the inverse? Good. So we'll add 3x and then add 3x to the 4x. Okay, so we get 7x plus 13 equals negative 15. Next, minus the 13 from both sides. What is it, Glenn? Good job. Negative 28. So we're going to get 7x is equal to negative 28. Last step. Divide by 7. Good. And what will we get? Negative 4. So again, you just have to take it step by step. And it really, this is the time, guys, when you need to show your work. You need to write things down. If you try to do it all in your head, that's where you're going to mess up. So you need to write it down, show your work through the process, cross things off. It makes it a lot simpler. Let's take a look at another problem. Okay, negative 6 times the quantity of 2x minus 2 equals negative 4 times the quantity of 2x minus 10. Again, neither one of those sides is simplified, so we need to simplify for them. Let's focus on the left. What do I need to do? Distributive property. So that means multiplication. So it means you're multiplying negative 6 times 2x, and you're multiplying negative 6 times negative 2. Right? This is one term. This is a separate term. So negative 6 times 2x is going to give us what? Negative 12x. And then negative 6 times negative 2 is going to give us what? Positive 12. Okay, same thing for the right side. We're going to have that negative 4 that needs to be distributed to the 2x and to the negative 10. So what's negative 4 times 2x? Negative 8x. And then negative 4 times negative 10?
It's positive.
Positive 40.
Did you say
It was. All right, so now they're set equal to each other. What are we going to do? Which one's our smallest? Yeah, the negative, even though 12 is bigger than 8, once you throw in a negative, negative 12 now becomes smaller than negative 8. Okay, so this is our smaller variable right here. So we're going to add 12x to both sides. Those will cancel out. What's negative 8x plus 12x? 4x, good. So we'll have 12 equals 4x plus 40. What's next? Minus 40, good. What's 12 minus 40? Negative 28. So we're going to get negative 28 is equal to 4x. And then the last step? Divide it by 4. Good.
And that's 7. Negative 7.
Negative 7. Okay, so we'll get x is equal to negative 7. Okay, I'm going to have you guys try one on your own now. Everybody get it? All right, try this one on your own. Lynn?
How about 8?
8 is correct. Very good. All right, so let's take a look. At each side, we need to go ahead and start simplifying them. So on the left side, do we have any distributive property on the left side? No. So we're just going to focus on combining like terms. What like terms can we combine? Good. Negative 8x plus the 3x. So we have negative 8x plus 3x, which is going to give us a negative 5x. We don't have anything to combine with that minus 6, so we just bring the minus 6 down. Okay, so we have negative 5x minus 6 is our simplified expression. Setting it equal to now what we're going to do with the right side. What do we have to do on the right side?
2 times 1.
Distribute. Good. So we have to distribute the 2 to the 1 and to the negative 3x. So we're going to do 2 times 1, which is 2. And we're going to do 2 times negative 3x, which is a negative 6x. Okay, so now here are our two expressions. So we have negative 5x minus 6 is equal to 2 minus 6x. What is our smallest variable? Negative 6, right? Negative 5 is bigger than negative 6. So we're going to focus on the negative 6x. What's the inverse? Plus 6x. So we're going to add 6x to both sides. Those are going to cancel out. Negative 5x plus 6x is going to give us a positive 1x. Do I have to write the 1? No, because it's a positive, and it's a coefficient of a 1, I don't have to technically write it. Okay? We're going to bring down that minus 6, and it's equal to 2. What's our next step? Okay. Plus 6. Good. So we're going to add 6 to both sides, and that gets x by itself. X is equal to 8. Okay? Now, what if the coefficient was a negative 1? Would I have to write that? Yeah, if it's a negative 1, I'd have to write that coefficient. You could write negative x, but you'd have to know that the negative is there, and the negative does have to be gotten rid of, because you want x by itself, not negative x. Okay? All right, are there any questions? Okay, so your assignment, it's just